Stay right there, man of God. I'm not going to be very long. It says, my brother, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. Somebody say various trials.
Various trials.
Knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. Yes. But let patience have its perfect work. Somebody say perfect work.
Perfect.
Somebody say perfect work.
Perfect work.
Listen, if you want God to do a perfect work, you got to have patience. You got to have patience in the process. Let me tell you something. You have to have patience in the process. Somebody saying, God, I didn't want to go through for 8 months. I only wanted to go through for a month and a half. God says you got to have patience in the process.
Amen.
You don't get to decide how long you go through.
Come on.
I'll keep you in it as long as I can hold your attention in the fire to purge out whatever's not needed for the next level.
Come on. Purge.
Y'all, you got to have patience.
Amen.
You go through longer because God's trying to purge some stuff out of you. You may think I'm ready. God said you're only 80%. You might think you're ready. You're only 90%. You may think you're ready, God. You're only 99%. 99 and a half won't even do. I got to get a perfect work in you. So I have to purge you through the fire in the name of Jesus. You all, excellence requires testing. Look at your neighbor and tell them excellence requires testing. Come on, say it again. Excellence requires testing.
Excellence requires testing.
When God gives you an assignment to do, He's going to test you. Anything that you put out requires testing.
Come on.
Verse 5 said, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and will be given to him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting. Somebody say no doubting.
No doubting.
Come on, somebody say no doubting.
No doubting.
No doubting. For he who doubts is like the waves of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. Let that man suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Y'all, you got to know that you know. When God tells you something, you got to know when it's God. And I don't care who don't agree with you. You have to know the voice of the Lord. You have to know the voice of the Lord through opposition. You have to know the voice of the Lord in the face of the lion's den. Y'all, it's easy to be getting ready to be cast into the lion's den and say, wait a minute, not that way. It's easy to change your mind when the trials are set right in front of you. When you're Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, it's easy to change your mind when it's time to go in the fire. God says you got to know that you know. Listen, a double-minded man is unstable. God is saying if you're going to walk this walk with me, you got to have your mind made up. Some of y'all got too many deal breakers with Christ. Well, if he cheats on me, I'm gone. Well, God, if you take my child, I'm gone. Well, God, if this happens, I'm gone. God says, don't think you're going to receive something from me. Because you're unstable. I need you to be in this, and I need you to be committed to this. I need you to come to church ready to warfare. I need you to come to church ready to fight. We don't come to church to play, you all. We don't. The reason we have a morning huddle is to let the team know we come here to do battle. There's battles, you all, every Sunday morning. But you keep thinking you're wrestling against flesh and blood, and you're not. Y'all, before any product is introduced to the market, it has to go through a testing process to make sure everything is working according to what the product was designed for. You were designed for something specific. Don't lose that, you all. You were designed for something specific. Y'all, I just need to hold your attention but for a moment. I'm almost done. You were designed for something specific. Because you were designed specifically for leadership, because you were designed specifically to bring about change, you know what specifically means? For a set purpose. You all, there's a set purpose to why you gave your life to Christ. And the enemy doesn't want you to realize that it was a set purpose. Yeah, you want to be blessed. Yeah, you want to do this and that. But God says, I have something deeper. Somebody say deeper. Deeper. You know, there's a set purpose for batteries. They don't just go in anything. These batteries give this mic the power to operate. And you all, God has designed you specifically to give you power to operate in this earthly communion. God has given you specific power to operate in this earth realm. But before he puts you out, you got to be tested. You have to be tested. God designed you specifically to break ungodly traditions. So you must be tested. Many of us spend our entire lives thinking of ways to avoid the fire, not realizing that the fire is what gives you the durability to stand in the trial. So when the woman of God hit on the fire, this was right what God was saying. Many of us spend our entire lives thinking of how we can avoid trouble, not realizing that the fire is what gives you the durability to stand in the trials. This is why he says, count it all joy when you go through various trials. Now listen, different kind of trials. I got to give you the durability to stand. That's why you don't go through one specific kind of trial. I have to give you durability. See, we only want to be strong in finance. We only want to be strong when it comes to loving our family. Various trials, y'all. It is this fire that gives you durability. And I'm telling you, if you don't get this, nothing you do will stand. Amen. It'll be up but for a little while, and it'll fall over and over and over again, because we're trying to run away from the fire. You can pause for a minute, man of God. Y'all, we cut people out of our lives when they challenge us. We intentionally build a world where we exist in total rule and total domination to be challenged by no one. Let me say that again. We cut people out of our lives that will challenge us. And we intentionally build a world where we exist in total rule and domination, not to be challenged by anyone. You got to watch out if you're this kind of person. You got to watch out when you run from correction all the time. You got to watch out how you reject constructive criticism all the time. You cannot construct the world to whereas if people don't fit in your box, then they got to go. Come on. I'm going to say that again. You have to, amen. You cannot construct the world. I got it, man of God. You cannot construct the world where you exist in total rule and domination. And you can be challenged by no one. Y'all, you're in a dangerous place if nobody can check you. Yes. Y'all, you're in a dangerous place if you can listen to no one. Yes. Listen, everything you have will continue to come to naught. People will use you for a season, and then they'll let you go because they can't teach you nothing. People will use you for a season, and watch this, and then you get mad at people. Instead of dealing with the issues on the inside of you. We can criticize everything about everybody, but ask yourself, what do you have going on that's so great and so grand? God says, watch it. So you have people that look good on the outside, but they've never been through anything to be tested. And they take on positions of leadership. And as soon as the trouble comes and cracks the exterior, leaving the inside exposed, we get a real glimpse of what a person is truly made of. Y'all don't miss that. Let me say that again. You have people that look good on the outside, but they've never been through anything to get tested. And so because it looked good on the outside, people promote these people. Because they got their finances in order, and they got a nice suit on, and they got their haircut, and they talking right. So they give them positions of leadership. But as soon as the trouble comes and cracks the exterior, leaving the inside exposed, you get a real glimpse of what a person is truly made of. I'm not concerned with your outside. I'm concerned with what's on the inside. For man looks at the outer appearance, but God looks at the heart. How is the condition of your heart? You got to take a real look at what's going on in your life. Amen. What God has told you to do. How are you growing? Before you criticize somebody else's thing. Because I'm telling you, when the trouble comes and when the fire hits and it cracks everything you built up, what's down on the inside. If you're going to be used greatly by God, then you have to be excellent. And excellence requires testing. In order for you to be excellent, you have to be tested. And when you're tested, some of your testing involves the fire refinement process. Yes. Listen, if you can't go through the fire, you can't be great. Jesus. You can be used, but you can't be great. I'm going to say it again. If you can't go through the fire, then you cannot be great. You can be used, but you can't be great. Think about Jesus. He was great, but did not Jesus go through some fire? Who do we talk about? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They literally went through the fire. We talk about Daniel in the lion's den. He went through the fire. We talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, y'all. He went through the fire. We talk about Malcolm X. Anybody you talk about, they went through something. Because if you ain't went through nothing, you ain't worth talking about. When you are in battle against the enemy, the main weapon is the sword. And you cannot contend against the devil with a weak sword. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. You cannot contend against the devil with a weak sword. The Bible says in Isaiah 49:2, he has made my mouth like a sharp sword. Everybody say sharp sword. Sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand he has hidden me and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver he has hidden me. One of the ways you make a sword stronger is by sending it through the fire. I don't know if you all are familiar with the medieval times. And I don't know if y'all knew about how they forged swords in the olden days, you all. But they had this metal. They had to place it in a fire that was so hot in order for them to bend and shape the metal into what they needed it for. They needed it for war. If you're going to be used by God, just like they used them swords, you have to allow him to lay you on the fire. And he has to hit you and hit you and hit you and bend you and shape you and carve you and bend you and shape you and hit you and bend you and carve you into what he needs you for.
Amen, amen.
There are a lot of people that got in Christianity for what they thought they was going to do. And when it don't go how what they thought they was going to do, wait a minute, we start shooting at everybody. Wait a minute, what's going on? God said, I didn't call you for that. I didn't call you for that. I got to use you for what I need to use you for. Y'all, some of us got some terrible family situations. God said, I've called you to fix it. So I got to lay you on this fire. I got to turn up the heat enough so that when I hit you, so that when you take hits, when you take blows, it will shape you into what I need you to be, so that I can use you as a weapon. Yes. If God's going to use you as a weapon to bring about real healing, if you're going to call out cancer and it's going to really go, then you got to go through some fire. You got to allow God to shape you in order for him to use you in that manner. Yes. If you really going to be a person that's going to be financially independent and it's going to trickle down throughout the whole ministry, then guess what? In your own finances, you're going to be hit and hit and hit and shaped and molded into what God needs to use you for. In your own marriage, you're going to be hit and hit and hit and shaped and molded into what God needs you for. Get out of your mind what you thought you was going to do. Lord, it's whatever you want to do. Somebody say, Lord, it's whatever you want to do. Lord, it's whatever you want to do. Y'all, a good sword has to be hard enough to hold an edge. And at the same time, it must be strong enough and flexible enough that it can absorb massive shocks at just about any point along its length and not crack or break. And the only way to do this is to send it through the fire. Let me say that again. A good sword has to be sharp enough to hold an edge. Y'all, what's your spiritual edge? What's the thing that gets you ticking, that thing that gets you driving? Where is your spiritual edge? Listen, the best athletes always have an edge about them. Right? They got something for perfection. They went through poverty. And because I went through poverty, I'm not going through that, so I'm going to excel at this. Or my family was this. My father beat my mom, and because of that, where is your edge? What's driving this thing? Listen.